book, and also you're limited to choosing one word as an answer. Right? The directions say one word as an answer. Okay, you can't put two words as an answer or three words as an answer. It's one word as an answer. All right, so on the left side of the screen, you can see the questions. If you have any problems seeing the questions, then look at your book. That's the reason why I told you have your own book. Okay, have your own book. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play the audio now. We'll go ahead and answer it. And then after listening to the audio, I'm going to go over the answer. I'm going to go over the correct answer choices, and I will take any questions. You'll notice that I've already highlighted the keywords in the questions because those keywords that are before and after the blank line, those are the keywords that the answer choice is going to connect to. And so when we're dealing with fill the blank questions like this, we know that they're going to try to trick us by sometimes doing a word reorder, meaning they'll take the language that's after the blank line and say it in the beginning, and the language that's before the blank line, they'll move it to the end. So very often they'll reword a sentence around the blank line. If you have to deal with getting a number, very often you're going to hear more than one number. Right? You can, for example, like with number 4, we know that because it says kph, kilometers per hour, for number 4, we know that's going to be a number, and we know that we can expect that they're going to give us more than one number. Right? We know that we can expect they're going to give us more than one number, and so I've gone through and I've highlighted all my keywords that my answer choices are going to connect to. Right? That's the key thing. That's the key thing. And like on the real exam, you only hear it one time. Okay? You're only going to hear it one time. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play it, and let's get started now.
You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
Hello, South City Cycling Club.
Oh, hi. I want to find out about joining the club.
Right, I can help you there. I'm the club secretary and my name's Jim Hunter.
Oh, hi, Jim.
So, are you interested in membership for yourself?
That's right.
Okay, well, there are basically 2 types of adult membership. If you're pretty serious about cycling, there's the full membership. That costs $260, and that covers you not just for ordinary cycling, but also for races, both here in the city and also in other parts of Australia. $108 if you're over 19, and $95 if you're under.
You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
Hello, South City Cycling Club.
Oh, hi. I want to find out about joining the club.
Right, I can help you there. I'm the club secretary and my name's Jim Hunter.
Oh, hi, Jim.
So, are you interested in membership for yourself?
That's right.
Okay, well, there are basically 2 types of adult membership. If you're pretty serious about cycling, there's the full membership. That costs $260, and that covers you not just for ordinary cycling, but also for races, both here in the city and also in other parts of Australia.
Right. Well, I'm not really up to that standard. I was more interested in just joining a group to do some cycling in my free time.
Sure, that's why most people join. So in that case, you'd be better with the recreational membership. That's $108 if you're over 19 and $95 if you're under.
I'm 25.
Okay, it's paid quarterly and you can upgrade it later to the full membership if you want to, of course. Now, both types of membership include the club fee of $20. They also provide insurance in case you have an accident, though we hope you won't need that, of course.
No. Well, I'll go with the recreational membership, I think, and that allows me to join in the club activities and so on.
That's right. And once you're a member of the club, you're also permitted to wear our kit when you're out cycling. It's green and white.
Yes, I've seen cyclists wearing it. So can I buy that at the club?
No, it's made to order by a company in Brisbane. You can find them online. They're called Jerry's. That's Jerriz. You can use your membership number to put in an order on their website.
Okay. Now, can you tell me a bit about the rides I can do?
Sure. So we have training rides pretty well every morning, and they're a really good way of improving your cycling skills as well as your general level of fitness. But they're different levels. Level A is pretty fast. You're looking at about 30 or 35 kilometers an hour. If you can do about 25 kilometers an hour, you'd probably be level B. And then level C are the novices who stay at about 15 kilometers per hour.
Right. Well, I reckon I'd be level B. So when are the sessions for that level?
There are a couple each week. They're both early morning sessions. There's one on Tuesdays, and for that one you meet at 5:30 a.m. and the meeting point's the stadium. Do you know where that is?
Yes, it's quite near my home, in fact. Okay, and how about the other one?
That's on Thursdays. It starts at the same time, but they meet at the main gate to the park.
Is that the one just past the shopping mall?
That's it.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 7 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
So how long are the rides?
They're about an hour and a half, so if you have a job, it's easy to fit in before you go to work. And the members often go somewhere for coffee afterwards, so it's...
Okay, everybody, one moment. That audio cut for that audio cut. So everybody, hold on one moment, please. All right. When I was playing the audio, did you all hear questions 1 through 6? You heard questions 1 through 6. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so I know where to pick up. I'm going to, I don't know what happened to the audio. I'm going to shift to a different screen so we can finish questions 7 through 10. I'm going to look at it in a PDF format. Um, but okay, great. 1 through 6 is complete. Okay, everybody, I got it. Okay, hold on.
You should answer the questions and
Cycling's pretty fast.
I've seen cyclists wearing it. So can I buy that at the club?
No, it's made to order by a company and won't need that action. It's green and white.
Yes, I've seen cyclists wearing it. So can I buy that at the club?
No, it's made to order by a company in Brisbane. You can find them online. They're called Jerry's. That's Jerriz. You can use your membership number to put in an order on their website.
Okay. Now can you tell me a bit about the rides I can do?
Sure. So we have training rides pretty well every morning, and they're a really good way of improving your cycling skills as well as your general level of fitness. But they're different levels. Level A is pretty fast. You're looking at about 30 or 35 kilometers an hour. If you can do about 25 kilometers an hour, you'd probably be level B. And then level C are the novices who stay at about 15 kilometers per hour.
Right. Well, I reckon I'd be level B. So when are the sessions for that level?
There are a couple each week. They're both early morning sessions. There's one on Tuesdays, and for that one you meet at 5:30 a.m. and the meeting point's the stadium. Do you know where that is?
Yes, it's quite near my home, in fact. Okay, and how about the other one?
That's on Thursdays. It starts at the same time, but they meet at the main gate to the park.
Is that the one just past the shopping mall?
That's it.
before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 7 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
So how long are the rides?
They're about an hour and a half, so if you have a job, it's easy to fit in before you go to work. And the members often go somewhere for coffee afterwards, so it's quite a social event.
Okay, that sounds good. I've only just moved to the city, so I don't actually know many people yet.
Well, it's a great way to meet people.
And does each ride have a leader?
Sometimes, but not always. But you don't really need one. The group members on the ride support one another anyway.
How would we know where to go?
If you check the club website, you'll see that the route for each ride is clearly marked. So you can just print that out and take it along with you. It's similar from one week to another, but it's not always exactly the same.
And what do I need to bring?
Well, bring a bottle of water and your phone. You shouldn't use it while you're cycling, but have it with you.
Right.
And in winter, it's well before sunrise when we set out, so you need to make sure your bike's got lights.
That's okay. Well, thanks, Jim. I'd definitely like to join.
Okay, let's go ahead and go through the answer choices now. Number one, the answer choice is races. That's RACES, races. And what they said not just ordinary cycling, but also, which is replacing and then they said the answer races, RACES. All right, and for number, see, I have a question real quick. Let's see. No, there's no need to write your answers in the box. Please don't do that. I'm going to be given the answers. Number two, the answer is insurance, right? They said you get both they both include the club fee. They also, right? They also provide insurance, right? And they also, again, is replacing and.
Huh?
So the answer for number two is insurance.
Yeah.
Number three is Jerry's, Jerriz, right? Made to order by a company, Brisbane there, referring back to the company, a reference called Jerry's. Number 25, we're dealing with the word reorder and them saying multiple numbers. So when you look at number 4, right, you see it says level B. Right, so you can pretty much assume they're going to talk about a level A and they might talk about a level C. We're dealing with the numbers, so they're going to give more than one. So first they started off talking about level A and being 35 kilometers, but we know that's not what we're listening for. And then we had a word reorder. They said, if you can do 25 kilometers per hour, you'll probably be level B. Right? If you can do 25 kilometers per hour, you'll probably be level B. So instead of it being like in the question, level B speed about 25 kilometers an hour, they gave the answer part first, and then they connected that to level B. So that's what I mean by changing the word reorder. Number 5 is stadium. They said Tuesday the meeting point is at the stadium. Number 6 is park. Thursday same time, referring back to 5:30. But you meet at the main gate, which is a synonym of the word entrance, and the answer is park, right? The answer that connects directly to the language before the blank line. Number 7 is coffee. Members often go somewhere to have coffee. Number 8 is leader, right? Number 8 is leader. And so here again, we're dealing with a confirmation. Very often on the listening section, one person will say the answer and the other person will confirm that's the answer. So for example, the woman said here, does each ride have a leader? So she said it, but then you have to wait because the man confirmed it, right? He says sometimes, but not always. Sometimes, but not always. All right, and so then we're dealing with word reordering and confirmation there. Number 9, the answer is route. The answer is route. We're dealing with the word reorder trap and referencing. He said check the club website. Check the club website. So he said that at first. If you notice in the question, talking about the website comes after the blank line. When they were speaking, they changed up the word order. Right? So check the club website. The route is marked. You can just print that. So again, they're testing if you could reference that the word that is a reference back to, you can print that. What is that referring to? It's referring to the route being marked. All right, and then for number 10, the answer is lights. They tried to trick you by giving some other possible answer choices, but what you're listening for is the answer choices connected to the language must have. Right? Bring water, bring a phone, and then they said need to. Need to is the same as saying must have. So the answer, you need to make sure that your bike has lights. So the answer is light. When you're given your time to go through the questions, these first questions, Your job is to identify the keywords in the question because that's what the answer will connect to. Okay? Wrong. If you're sitting there and saying, "Well, I'm looking at the answer choices. I'm looking to hear if I hear to, or if I hear the word month. I'm looking to hear which words I hear." If you're doing it that way, that's why you're getting so many wrong, or why it's so difficult for you. You have to listen for the choice that's connected to the keywords. So for number 11, the keywords are time for volunteering allowed to each employee. That's what I'm listening for. For number 12, the employee said volunteering improved what? What did they say volunteering improved? I'm listening for language. Now, they're not going to say the exact words of the question. They're going to paraphrase it. That's what makes it more difficult. Number 13, I'm listening for how the staff helped unemployed people. And sometimes it's a really good idea to just put the language in your own words. Number 14, I'm listening for the new volunteering project is with a local what? They started a new volunteering project with a local. It's either going to be a local school, a local park, or a local charity. But I'm listening for starting a new. I probably should have highlighted the word new also. Number 15, we're looking for a location. Where will the Digital Inclusion Day be held? Where will it be held? Where? What place? And number 16, what should the staff do if they want to participate? What should they do if they want to participate? As I said, you're going to hear information for all the answer choices. Only one of them is connected to the keywords. That's what you're listening for. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. Let me check if there's a question, and then I'll go ahead and get started. No questions? Okay, good. I'll go ahead and get started.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 16.
Thanks for coming, everyone. Okay, so this meeting is for new staff and staff who haven't been involved with our volunteering projects yet. So basically, the idea is that we allow staff to give up some of their work time to help on various charity projects to benefit the local community. We've been doing this for the last 5 years, and it's been very successful. Participating doesn't necessarily involve a huge time commitment. The company will pay for 8 hours of your time. That can be used over 1 or 2 days, all at once, or spread over several months throughout the year. There are some staff who enjoy volunteering so much, they also give up their own free time for a couple of hours every week. It's completely up to you. Obviously, many people will have family commitments and aren't as available as other members of staff. Feedback from staff has been overwhelmingly positive. Because they felt they were doing something really useful, nearly everyone agreed that volunteering made them feel more motivated at work. They also liked building relationships with the people in the local community and felt valued by them. 1 or 2 people also said it was a good thing to have on their CVs. One particularly successful project last year was the Get Working project. This was aimed at helping unemployed people in the area get back to work. Our staff were able to help them improve their telephone skills, such as writing down messages and speaking with confidence to potential customers, which they had found quite difficult. This is something many employers look for in job applicants, and something we all do without even thinking about every day at work. We've got an exciting new project starting this year. Up until now, we've mainly focused on
We
projects
know
to
of
do with
any way
education
how
and
to share
training.
documents to
And we'll
several
continue with our
people.
reading project in schools and our work with local charities.
Mhm.
But we've also agreed to help out on a conservation project in Redfern Park. So if any of you fancy being outside and getting your hands dirty, this is the project for you. I also wanted to mention the annual Digital Inclusion Day, which is coming up next month. The aim of this is to help older people keep up with technology. And this year, instead of hosting the event in our own training facility, we're using the ICT suite at Hill College, as it can hold far more people. We've invited over 60 people from the Silver Age Community Center to take part, so we'll need a lot of volunteers to help with this event. If you're interested in taking part, please go to the volunteering section of our website and complete the relevant form. We won't be providing...
Okay, we're going to go on to this next part.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20.
The participants on the Digital Inclusion Day really benefited. The majority were in their 70s, though some were younger, and a few were even in their 90s. Quite a few owned both a computer and a mobile phone, but these tended to be outdated models. They generally knew how to do simple things like send texts, but weren't aware of recent developments in mobile phone technology. A few were keen to learn, but most were quite dismissive at first. They couldn't see the point of updating their skills. But that soon changed. The feedback was very positive. The really encouraging thing was that participants all said they felt much more confident about using social media to keep in touch with their grandchildren, who prefer this form of communication to phoning or sending emails. A lot of them also said playing online games would help them make new friends and keep their brains active. They weren't that impressed with being able to order their groceries online, as they liked going out to the shops, but some said it would come in handy if they were ill or the weather was really bad. One thing they asked about was using tablets for things like reading newspapers.
Okay, everybody, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to play this stuff in the PDF instead of this form. For some reason, it's cutting the audio before it should be cut. And I know when I got to question number 16, I don't think you all heard number 16 all the way through. Am I correct? Did number 16 get cut? You did? Okay. All right. Okay. So from this point forward, everybody, I'm going to play it directly in the PDF instead of the other one looks better, but for some reason it keeps cutting, and I don't know why. But I'll start at 16 so that everybody can hear. Now, when I'm doing it in a PDF, the only difference is you're going to see me moving the screen, and that could be distracting, but that's the best that I can do in terms of doing it. Okay, hold on.
Ready.
Now listen.
The aim of this is to help older people keep up with technology. And this year, instead of hosting the event in our own training facility, we're using the ICT suite at Hill College, as it can hold far more people. We've invited over 60 people from the Silver Age Community Center to take part, so we'll need a lot of volunteers to help with this event. If you're interested in taking part, please go to the volunteering section of our website and complete the relevant form. We won't be providing any training for this, but you'll be paired with an experienced volunteer if you've never done it before. By the way, don't forget to tell your manager about any volunteering activities you decide to do.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20.
Pwede ko kaya itong i-download yung mga videos instead of me watching it and recording.
Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20.
The participants on the Digital Inclusion Day really benefited. The majority were in their 70s, though some were younger, and a few were even in their 90s. Quite a few owned both a computer and a mobile phone, but these tended to be outdated models. They generally knew how to do simple things like
magsalita yung mga
text,
Canadian.
but weren't aware of recent developments in mobile
Kagaya
phone
yun, di ba yung
technology.
magra-write?
A few were keen
Ang
to
tawag pala
learn, but
nilang
most were
Ben.
quite dismissive at first. They couldn't see the point of updating their
Let
skills,
Ben write Ben.
but that soon changed. The feedback was very positive. The really encouraging thing was that participants all said they felt much more confident about using social media to keep in touch with their grandchildren, who prefer this form of communication to phoning or sending emails. A lot of them also said playing online games would help them make new friends and keep their brains active. They weren't that impressed with being able to order their groceries online, as they liked going out to the shops. But some said it would come in handy if they were ill or the weather was really bad. One thing they asked about was using tablets for things like reading newspapers. Some people had been given tablets as presents, but had never used them. So that's something we'll make sure we include this time.
That is the end of section 2.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go over the answer choices now. Number 11, the answer choice is C. They said the company will pay for. When they said the company will pay for, that is the connection to the company allowing per employee 8 hours of your time. Right now, they said it could be used 1 or 2 days, or you can spread it over months. They said that the employees can use 2 hours of their own time. But that's why you have to listen for the answer choice that is connected to the keywords in the question. When they said the company will pay for, that is the same as saying the company will allow, right? 8 hours per 8 hours of your time. So the answer is C. The answer is C. All right, Raheel or whoever's doing that, you don't have to don't put any answers in the box, okay? The box is there for questions. I'm going over the answers. Number 12 is B. Number 12 is B in terms of, they said feedback, right? Nearly everyone agreed it made them feel more motivated at work. That is a synonym for, or paraphrasing for choice B, job satisfaction. They tried to trap you into choosing choice C when they use the exact word relationship. Again, you shouldn't be listening for exact words. They said it builds a good relationship with the community. They said nothing about relationship with colleagues, but they put that there where they said that because they know people are just listening for exact words, and that's why they're getting them wrong. Number 13 is C. They said they had a project last year, and they said the staff helped with phone skills, messaging, and speaking with confidence, which is difficult.
You're
All of
right.
those are related to communication skills. Again, they tried to trap you with saying the word employers like job applicants. They were hoping that somebody would hear the word job applicants and look at choice B and say job application and say, oh, I heard that. I'm going to pick that as an answer choice. And that is wrong. Please stop doing that. Number 14, the answer is B. They said we have a new project, and then they said up to now, which means in the past, so it's not new. Up to now, it's been focused on education. And it said they're continuing, that means it's not new, they're continuing a
Dagdagan ko na lang
project for
po.
schools and charity. Then they said we agreed to, that means now we're talking about the future, and they talked about helping out a park. So the correct answer for 14 is B. Again, you're listening for language that connects to will start a new.
Ano kang ano? Spring
You're
onion.
listening for that language. Continuing does not connect it to start anew. Up to now is talking about the past, right? That's not connected to start anew. That's how you have to do multiple choice questions. Number 15, the correct answer is B. So again, listen to the language. Instead of the training facility, instead of is the past. We want to know where it's going to be held now. They said we're going to be using, that means now, the place, the suite at Hill College. So the correct answer is B. They said we invited the community center to take part. That doesn't mean it's going to happen there. That's who's invited, right? Listen to that language. And number 16 is A. He said, if you're interested, go to the website. Go to the website is what? Related to the language of do and action. You're listening for language that's related to you doing something, right? So go to the website that's do and complete the form. That means the correct answer number 16 is A. All right, let me check for any questions before I go forward. Could you provide us the dates for reading, writing, and speaking questions? This is okay. You're not asking me. Whoever's asking me that question, you can send me a message in Udemy about that. When there's a live class every month, right? And I make an announcement. So it's not something that's done. It's usually a couple of weeks before I do it, I make an announcement. That's the way it works. You all gotta stay focused on the questions related to what we're doing. And for the next set, for Cambridge IELTS 13, Section 2, for 17 through 20, 17 and 18, or CE, or it could be EC. So they said some are younger than 70, so it can't be A. They said some owned a computer, so it's not B. They said the phone was outdated, so that is connected to C. Old-fashioned, outdated, paraphrasing, that's what you're looking for in the answer choice. It says they know how to send a text, so it's not D. And then it says most were quite dismissive at first. That means initially showed little interest. That means the answer is E. Paraphrasing, that's the test. 19 and 20, the answer choices are BD or DB. They said they use social media to keep up, using social media to keep up with their grandkids. That's connected to the language. You're listening for language that's connected to useful, right? Because the question says, which activities did they say are useful? So useful is the big key word there. You have to hear language that's related to the word useful. Who prefer to send email. It should be who prefer not to send email. right? The word not should be in there. So it's not E. And then they said playing online games helps them make new friends. Again, that's connected to useful. So the other correct answer is B. They're not impressed with ordering groceries online, so it's not C. They've never used a tablet. So all right, these are questions 21 through 25 on the screen. Can everybody see, can you see 21 through 25 on your screen? Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to give you 30 seconds to look at your questions, and then I'm going to go ahead and play the audio. You can see what I've highlighted already in the questions in terms of the keywords, but this question set is no different than the multiple choice question set you just saw previously. It's the exact same strategy, but you'll notice how the questions are longer, the answer choices are longer, right? That's what they're doing, is they're raising the difficulty level in English. Strategy doesn't change, but section 3 and section 4 is what really separates somebody that can get a 5 or 6 in listening and somebody that can get a 7 and 8 in listening. Sections 3 and 4 are the separators, right? People that can do sections 3 and 4 very, very well are normally able to get a 7, 8, or even up to a 9 on the listening section. If you have a hard time with sections 3 and 4, that's most likely what's holding you back and keeping you at a 5.5, 6, or 6.5 in terms of your listening. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play the audio now, and I'm going to answer the questions, and then I'm going to go over the answer choices.
Yeah.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Come in, Russ. Thank you. Now, you wanted to consult me about your class presentation on nanotechnology. You were due to give it next week, aren't you? That's right, and I'm really struggling. I chose the topic because I didn't know much about it and wanted to learn more. But now I've read so much about it, in a way there's too much to say. I could talk for much longer than the 20 minutes I've been allocated. Should I assume the other students don't know much and give them a kind of general introduction? Or should I try and make them share my fascination with a particular aspect? You could do either, but you'll need to have it clear in your own mind. Then I think I'll give an overview. Okay. Now, one way of approaching this is to work through developments in chronological order. On the other hand, you could talk about the numerous ways that nanotechnology is being applied. You mean things like thin films on camera displays to make them water repellent, and additives to make motorcycle helmets stronger and lighter? Exactly. Or another way would be to focus on its impact in one particular area, say medicine or space exploration. That would make it easier to focus. Perhaps I should do that. I think that would be a good idea. Right. How important is it to include slides in the presentation? They aren't essential by any means. And there's a danger of tailoring what you say to fit whatever slides you can find. While it can be good to include slides, you could end up spending too long looking for suitable ones. You might find it better to leave them out.
I see. Another thing I was wondering about was how to start. I know presentations often begin with, first I'm going to talk about this, and then I'll talk about that. But I thought about asking the audience what they know about nanotechnology.
That would be fine if you had an hour or two for the presentation, but you might find that you can't do anything with the answers you get, and it simply eats into the short time that's available.
So maybe I should mention a particular way that nanotechnology is used to focus people's attention.
That sounds sensible.
What do you think I should do next? I really have to plan the presentation today and tomorrow.
Well, initially, I think you should ignore all the notes you've made, take a small piece of paper and write a single short sentence that ties together the whole presentation. It can be something as simple as, nanotechnology is already improving our lives. Then start planning the content around that. You can always modify that sentence later if you need to.
Okay.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
Okay, now let's think about actually giving the presentation. You've only given one before, if I remember correctly, about an experiment you'd been involved in.
That's right. It was pretty rubbish.
Let's say it was better in some respects than in others. With regard to the structure, I felt that you ended rather abruptly, without rounding it off. Be careful not to do that in next week's presentation.
Okay.
And you made very little eye contact with the audience because you were looking down at your notes most of the time. You need to be looking at the audience and only occasionally glancing at your notes. Your body language was a little odd. Every time you showed a slide, you turned your back on the audience so you could look at it. You should have been looking at your laptop. And you kept scratching your head, so I found myself wondering when you were next going to do that, instead of listening to what you were saying.
Oh dear. What did you think of the language? I knew that not everyone was familiar with the subject, so I tried to make it as simple as I could.
Yes, that came across. You used a few words that are specific to the field, but you always explained what they meant, so the audience wouldn't have had any difficulty understanding.
Uh-huh.
I must say, the handouts you prepared were well thought out. They were a good summary of your presentation, which people would have been able to refer to later on. So well done on that.
Thank you.
Well, I hope that helps you with next week's presentation.
Yes, it will. Thanks a lot.
I'll look forward to seeing a big improvement then.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go over the answer choices now. When you're doing this kind of question that you're looking at here on the screen right now, again, keep in mind it's an English test. So you always have to think about how are they testing me in terms of English here? Because if you understand how they're trying to test you in terms of English, that helps you understand what you need to do to answer questions correctly. So with this type of question, and I'll ask you guys, you can give me an answer. With this kind of question, what are they testing you on? What are they testing in terms of English? What are they testing? Who can tell me, for this question type, what are they testing? Yes. right? So no, they're not testing level of understanding. We heard the answer, everybody. They're testing paraphrasing, really. Some of you are somewhat correct when you talk about level, synonyms. They're not testing your level of English, right? So they're testing paraphrasing, not necessarily synonyms, right? They're testing paraphrasing. That's what it's all about. Is paraphrasing. And if you can understand, because they're not going to say the exact words in the box. They're not going to do that. Okay? So you have to when people talk about getting better, you have to work on your skills. So, you want to work on the skill of paraphrasing, being able to recognize paraphrases. That's a skill. It's just like when I tell people that are taking the TOEFL IBT and I tell them go work on the skill of note taking. There's certain skills that you must have. All right, I'm going to go over the answer choices. All right. Number 21, the answer is B. 21, the answer is B. He said he chose the topic because he didn't know much. And then he said but, so he's about to contrast that. But now he knows too much. So the answer is not A. He said I can talk much longer than 20 minutes. And so the answer is not C. Then he said, should I assume that they don't know anything, or should I have them share in the experience? Right? He's uncertain or unsure of what to do, and then the tutor advises him. So the correct answer choice is B. Number 22, Russ and his tutor agree. Again, that's the key thing there. That's the key point there. Right? What did they agree on? That's what you're listening for. He said one way is chronological order. There's no agreement language attached to that. Another is to talk about how it's applied. Right? Again, there was no agreement language there. Then he said, or focus on the impact in one area. Or she said, focus on impact in one area. And then the student said, it'll be easier to focus. Perhaps I'll do that. And then she said, right. That is agreement language. Which answer choice is connected to agreement language? You're going to hear information that connects to all the answer choices. Only one will connect to the keyword language in the question. 23 is C. 23 is C. They said in terms of the slides, it's not essential by any means. Could spend too long looking for something suitable. So it is not B. And then she said the danger of tailoring to say something to fit the slide. And so it's not A. Then she said it might be better to leave them out. It might be better to. That is advice. That's what she's advising him to do. It might be better to leave them out. That is a paraphrasing of consider omitting the slides altogether. 24 is C. Again, we're looking for agreement language. We're looking for agreement language.
11.
So the man started off, I could begin with the first item and then talk about this, then talk about that. Right? Then he said, but. So again, he's about to contrast that. So that means the answer can't be B. Right? He's not going to explain what to do. But then I thought about asking what they know. And the tutor said, that's fine if you have 1 or 2 hours, but there's a contrast. The answers might not be useful, so the answer can't be A. Then the man said, I could mention a way that they're used. And then the tutor said, that sounds sensible. There is our agree language. There is our agreement language. So the correct answer is C. And then number 25, in terms of what does she advise him to do next? The correct answer is A. She said you can ignore all the notes, so it's not B. C is not mentioned. And they said, she said, write a simple sentence that ties the whole presentation together. So that is a paraphrasing for choice A. That is a paraphrasing for choice A. I have a question. All right, I have a question. Okay, somebody just said they're blind. Okay. Now, next part. Okay, next part, number 26. The choice is A. What is the paraphrase? And the person said, the woman said, you ended abruptly without rounding off. That is a paraphrase for lacking a conclusion. 27. Eye contact. She said you have very little eye contact. Look at the audience more. That means that's choice C. You did not do it enough. 28, in terms of body language, she said the body language was odd. Turned your back, looking at the laptop, scratching your head. That is a paraphrase for choice D, sometimes being distracting. 29 is G, in terms of the choice of words. Simple, it came across as simple. He explained the words, no difficulty understanding. That is a paraphrase for choice G. And 30 is B. It said a good summary, people can later refer to it. That means B is useful in the future. When you have this kind of question, it is all about recognizing paraphrasing. Paraphrasing of language. It's an English test. Right? They're not testing, can you hear exact words? That's not a test. That's a test, but that's a low-level English test. Right? Normally, if I were teaching an English class and I have basic students at level 0, then I'll be testing them on, can you hear the exact word that was said? But when you're at the advanced level, it's about being able to recognize paraphrasing and synonyms, and that's what you're being tested on. All right, let me check for any questions. 2 questions. Can't answer for 29 be F. No. No, 29 cannot be F. No. They said that the guy said he tried to use simple language. Simple relates to what? Not too technical. He explained the words. That means relates to not too technical. No difficulty understanding. That relates to not too technical. That language does not relate to covered a wide range. That's not a paraphrase for that. Right? That's not a paraphrase for that. Well, I mean, when you're doing multiple choice questions, you have to be able to, with multiple choice questions, you have to be able to recognize when they're shifting from one question to another. All right, and so in some of the lectures in the course, I kind of point that out in terms of the shift, especially in sections 3 and 4. I point that out a lot more in terms of the language that they're using to shift from one question to the next. Right, when you're doing it, that's what you have to be able to pick up on. You have to be able to pick up on that. Right, when you're looking at multiple choice questions, you have to recognize when they're shifting. They always say something that shifts from 21 to 22. And then they shift from 22 to 23. They always use language. Like when he went to 24, you heard the man say, I'm not sure how to start my presentation. And then before 23, she said, let's talk about the slides. They always let you know when they are shifting from one question to the next question. They always let you know that.
If you can finish it.
Right, they always do. But you can see there is a stark difference between the level of English for sections 1 and 2, and then the level of English for sections 3 and 4. right? Like I said, 1 and 2. If you do great at 1 and 2, and you can't do great at 3 and 4, that's what's keeping your score down. Okay, that's what's keeping your score down. All right. Okay, so I went over those questions, and I went over. Yeah, those are the answer choices for 21 through 30. If anybody wanted to look at the answer choices again, those are the answer choices of 21 through.
Ah, shit.